Roger. I'm here with Game Strategy and Review, and we've just received the EM4 miniatures we mailed away for. This was a little under 2 weeks it took to get these, and they're the plastic miniatures that are 28mm. We're going to compare them to some Warhammer ones, as well as to some Warzone miniatures that we have in terms of height, just to see, what the comparison is. We got, I believe it was 10 sprues of them, and I believe they worked out to €2.55 per sprue. And it was actually a much better price because you were getting 5 miniatures per sprue. So what does that work out to? Well, you guys can figure that one out. But here in the US, it's much cheaper than the Necromunda miniatures, which I really love. These will actually include 3 male gangers and 2 female gangers. So you can put together something that's similar to a Clan Escher. I'll cut it open now. There is one metal miniature enclosed that is in some sort of power armor. I was interested to see what it would look like because they had some nice female miniatures, and I wanted something that was sort of looking like an Adeptus Sororitas. So, it appears that the sprues come with 2 separate pieces. I only thought there were one, but that's a pleasant surprise. These are the body parts, all connected. I believe it is all on one. Actually, there are 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, along with the metal miniature, which I will assemble and show you in a bit. And I'll just tell you right off the bat, it looks very much like the images if you've gone to EM4. It seems that they claim it's a sprue, but if you actually get 3 sprues for the 5 figures. Strike that, 4 sprues. One will contain, and they sent us our little inventory here, saying they've got everything. It came up to the total of the 10, with shipping and the single metal miniature, to €36.30, which really isn't bad, considering here it's $40 for 10 gangers for Necromunda. And as I said, we were using these to simulate it for it. Here you have a pretty good view of the bodies, as well as them giving you backpacks for each one of them, and a set of arms that go through the body. The rest of the body is down here, and the weapons arms. The last one, sprue, is of backpacks. As you can see, it came fairly nice. There's no packaging other than the plastic bags. And as I said, I could find plenty of plastic male miniatures for gang or futuristic gang type warfare, but I couldn't find any females. And these seem, if you've looked at them, to have been sculpted fairly nicely. I'm awful impressed. I'm going to cut out one of them. It'll be a female, of course, just to compare it to the other 2 miniatures that we have from both Games Workshop and from, what was the name of the other game that they had back then about the same thing? Battle Zone, I believe it was called. They came with quite a nice starter box I got from Prince August for a ridiculously low price. Please go check out Prince August, because a few times a year they will put different things on sale, and every once in a while you'll see that huge box set of plastic miniatures that are perfect if you play an Imperial Guard army. you're going to get 80 miniatures for a ridiculously low price. And if you're a guard player, 80 miniatures really does help. So she's the third miniature, so I'll be connecting it to her. It appears that you could connect anybody to any set of legs, and there are 2 sets of female legs. I'll cut them both out and see if this works that way. They disassemble nicely. The plastic breaks well with a scissor. It's got some flex. I actually would want to bend that piece off. That comes off the best. And yes, you can place the male or female bodies, the front part of the torso, onto the back part of the body, on either of them. So you do have a little bit of change of pose. The last part would be to see what weapons arms you're going to include on them. And there are 2 female-sized weapons arms. The other arms, one set looks like it could go on there with a larger weapon. I'll give her the pistol option. And the arms are made in such a way that there's a little axle that runs through it. And that's what holds the miniature together. These are snapped together. However, you will want to glue them, I would, in order to have them hold a specific pose. If you want a multi-pose on-the-fly miniature, I would say go for it. You simply place the torso through between the front and the back body parts, and make sure you actually have the arms in the right position and not. And then connect both halves, which can be take a second to get right. And our little base, which will complete the miniature. Quality seems pretty nice. It's a very silverized gray plastic. If you've gotten figures from Games Workshop before, you know about the ever constantly changing tone of gray. These have a very metallic look to their gray. And I can now show you, for size comparison, exactly how big she came out. And she fits very nicely in the size range, which was a worry to begin with when ordering these. But these screws are or 4 screws that you get are actually quite nice. Very inexpensive, which is what any gamer would like. And I will add in the metal miniature that I got from them, which is the female cyborg. If I can get it to stand up. I believe this one is going to require that it gets glued in there. So I will just take a little bit of this brand we're not endorsing. And also just put a little down here. So much for getting it out subtly. I think this should possibly help. Ah, there we go. So there's one of them. There is no pin right now. Do any of you guys happen to have a button? So that'll reach down further into here. Because I'm having quite a bit of trouble getting that further into there so I could mix both of these. Welcome back. I'm Raj with Game Strategy and Review. We took a brief break to create a few of these nice miniatures, and they were fairly easy to put together. They are snapped together. There is some problems in fitting some arms, so what I would suggest in those cases is to simply cut the arms along the little axle rod. Cut them a little shorter, and after you've glued the two halves together, slide them in. And you should be able to position the arms any way that you want. There is one issue we did run into, and you probably wouldn't realize what the solution is, but on EM4 some of their metal miniatures are not available, especially if you were looking for Necromunda alternatives, which would be females, of course. I was looking for something to replace Clan Escher, and most of the metal miniatures at EM4 are not available there. However, I did manage to get one. You can get them at Moonraker Miniatures, the exact ones. These are the guys that supply all the weapons arm alternatives that you might want to get. They're cast in metal, and you can get them at Moonraker. Every single thing, including all the motorcycles. There are also some larger walker vehicles there for those interested. If you wanted some sort of techie, what would you call it, Tyranid alternative, look into that. But let's take a closer look at the miniatures now. And as you can see, I have one of the male gangers right in the center. On the right side, you have a Chaos Cultist from Games Workshop, and on the left, we have, I believe it's Ducal Militia from Warzone. All of them, as you can see, the scale is pretty good. I like it. Behind them, you have the one metal miniature I was able to get from EM4, which was their cyborg female. I figured she could be used as something like either a sororitas or some sort of female Adeptus Mechanicus. Look pretty nice. And of course, none of these have been painted, and the one on the left has the crudest paint job I've ever done. Technique was like layering this on top of everything, and using that alone as shape. And you see what the results are. That'll have to be touched back up. But in the background, we have all the other gangers put together, and as you can see, the size is comparable to the one in the right front as we're going by, trying to find something as an alternative for Clan Escher, Clan, like all the other clans as well. Some of these guys could very well serve. Alternatively, if you wanted to come up with your own type of gang that had everybody in there, I think it would be an actual good idea to at your games at home. I don't know if the Games Workshop stores will allow you to play with them, but I'm quite sure you could probably get away with mixing them in with any of your miniatures. Paint them along the same color scheme. If you can, you'd be able to add arms. You could add a head by simply clipping heads off of these and adding any of the extra heads, as Games Workshop is rather fond of adding extra heads to everything. And if you have a convenient body to place it under and some extra weapons, you could vastly expand any gang from them for a few extra dollars. As I said, they come in. The sprue you're getting is one bag with actual 4 sprues in there and all of the bases. And there was, in the end, one extra weapons option with, 2 separate hands, one holding a pistol, one holding a melee weapon. So there's a little bit of choice in there. The bodies will change on all the male figures. The bodies change on the female figures. You get a decent little mix there. And for the price, I think it's highly worth it. But do I have anything bad to say about these guys? The fit isn't, when you get in real close, perfect. You may need some green stuff to do some fill-ins. You should glue them together. Don't just leave them together as snap-togethers. You will need to go over them with a razor knife, take off a couple of little edges. Other than that, I would strongly recommend to everybody to do some conversions. The guns aren't the most desirable. There's one that sort of looks like it could be sculpted with some green stuff into a rather nice plasma pistol, which is always a nice option for a ganger. But being able to do a little bit of conversion work would really take these quite far, especially if you're using them for Necromunda, which I'll be starting with my friends Jerry and Joe, probably within the next week or two, after we've gotten our respective gangs assembled and painted. But honestly, take a look into these. I know no one else was wanted to go and do a review on these things, but I think they were actually worth it. The sculpts are really nice, especially in their metal range. So go take a look. I really appreciate you guys joining me. I'm Raj with Game Strategy and Review, and good night from New Jersey.